Hello everyone. On this video, I want to share with you how we can enhance the settings to make a chart like that, a scatter plot like that, to something like this. Both charts or both scatter plots are showing the same information from the table on the left. Now, the only difference is that this one has been enhanced. We have sort of improved, refined the native features that come with the Excel charts natively. Now, the inspiration for this post before we proceed comes from this book, okay, that you should get because it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. Very beautiful book, okay? And then on page, I think 27, we have this chart that I thought, hey, look, it's a simple scatter plot, but look at the background, look at the grid lines, look at the markers, okay? They're not filled, it's just a circle or rings. And that really got me inspired and say, hey, we can achieve the same effect in Excel. So let's proceed. So the first thing is that I'm gonna insert a scatter plot. So the first thing is that I have to select these two columns and then go to the insert tab. And then on the section of charts, which is this part right here, now I go to charts and then I click on the first option, scatter plot. As soon as I get that, I have these by default chart straight from the out of the box, but we can improve it. So now we are going to move it over here down to the bottom, and I'm just gonna move to this side right here. Maybe I can go a little bit faster with the scroller. Okay, let me just double click on the tab so I can collapse my ribbon and have more space. Okay, there we go. So the first thing is that we can make this a bit more square. So you go to format tab and then you click right here and we can make it 10 by 10 just to make a little bit more, a little bit more like a square, more symmetrical. Then the other thing that I want you to get from this post is that Excel charts have many elements. Like, what do I mean by that? I'm right now clicking and the chart title. Now, if I click on these lines vertically, these are the vertical grid lines. If I click the horizontal ones, those are the horizontal grid lines. If I click that, that will be the plot area of the Excel chart. I can click on the markers if I click on those blue buttons, but I can also click an individual marker. So I can click it again, and I'm just gonna bring my magnifier tool, and you can see right there that it like that marker has other circles that are lighter, that have a lighter blue, and around it, on the four corners. So that is signaling to me that I'm clicking that specific data marker. So what I'm telling you with all of this is that because the elements of Excel charts are clickable, it means that we can touch them. And if we can touch them, we can sort of target it and then enhance them, refine them. So I think that's a very good feature of Excel. It offers us a high level of flexibility to make our charts look like the example that you see here again from on the right side as this one. So we're gonna get the same effect. Okay, so follow me here. And first thing is that I can click the chart, and if I click right here within the square inside of it, which is this one right here, I can actually click on that. And as soon as I notice that it's clicked, because these are sort of popping out, okay? And now right click, and then the fill, I'm gonna switch it to a lighter gray. I always go with this first option, which is a white background one, darker 5%. As soon as I do that, look at the effect, okay? Very subtle, but it really actually, it just makes that this is the plot area. Then the grid lines, I'm gonna click on them, the vertical ones right here, and I can tell, you can see the blue dots over here that are still sort of telling me that, hey, look, you have selected those. Now right click, outline, and then you click on the white color. And then you do the same for the horizontal ones. Right click and outline. Now here's one thing. As soon as I do that, there's also another line that I'm not seeing that is kind of formatted, which is the one in the middle. And you can tell right there by that is in color gray. So how do we get that line to also be white? So for that, I have to click on the numbers here of the axis. That's another chart element. That will be your axis your vertical axis. And there, what we can do is right click it. And actually be careful, I already clicked the horizontal line, so this is where you have to be careful. Click on the numbers, right click it, and then outline, okay? outline, and you're gonna choose the white color. And you're gonna do the same for the numbers on the bottom. That's gonna go to the horizontal. Right click, outline, and there you go, right there. And as soon as I do that, I bring back my magnifier, you can see the lines are now formatted to be white. So now with that, now what we can do here is to sort of bring this axis, this vertical axis, to the right, to the left. So to do that, right click, format axis, and then we go to the options of labels. Let me just expand this. And just in case, if you just saw this, hey, how come this setting or his format pane just showed up in the middle? Is because originally you always have it like this, okay? You always have it docked, but you can undock it. So the way to undock it is to sort of left click with your mouse, hold it, or left click where it says format axis. Once you left click, hold it down, and then left, and it will undock it. So you have to, again, let me just show it to you. Left click it, hold it down, and then move it to the left, and it should undock it so you can put it and have it floating around, which really offers you the flexibility of making it bigger and go on top of the ribbon for more space if you needed to. And I like it that way. Labels, and now click here and click low. Once we do that, look at that. Now we have something that is way more, we don't have the vertical axis interfering with our markers. Now we're gonna proceed with the markers. You can click on them, and once you click on them, you also see that there's something that is also being selected, is the series that they correspond to. Just in case I haven't talked about what the data is about, it's not really the purpose of this. The purpose is of this, like, hey, I just want to teach you how you can enhance this chart so it can look more refined and look more professional. So I click on those data series, and now those are telling me, hey, where is this series coming from those two columns. Now right click, and then you're gonna see an option that says format data series. You click on that, and then you go to the barrel, okay, which is gonna be the fill and line options. And then on markers, you're gonna click the marker section, open the marker options, and you're gonna go to built-in, and you're gonna scroll down to, from the circle, you're gonna go to the cross. As soon as you go to cross, you're gonna see them. But just in case you don't see them by any chance, just in case maybe you see them like this, and you're like, hey, but I'm choosing the cross, and where am I getting squares? The reason is because potentially the fill option is activated with the solid fill sub option or option. Okay, so now what you gotta do is just change it to no fill, and then collapse this, make a border. Okay, and if you do a border, what would happen is also, the markers have a fill and also a border. You can leave it like no line if you want to. Actually, solid line. You want to have it in solid line, but you want to have it in the color that you want. In this case, I want a black, but the transparency, I want it to be 50%. Because I'm having a lot of dots. So as you can see, I'm gonna bring the magnifier again. I'm having a lot of dots, and really, like, this is something called overplotting, that sometimes you plot in so much data that you're not really seeing like a great level of detail. So in order to increase your level of detail, what you can do is actually play with the transparency. So that's why I put in 50%, so I can see many of these dots. And I can tell, yeah, you can see some of more darker black areas that are telling me, hey, there's more concentrated dots here, one on top of the other. With that, I think what we can also do to the markers, we can increase the size a bit. So go to markers, go to options, and then go to size, and maybe we can make them just a little bit, maybe 7, okay? Maybe 6 is fine, not too big, but as you can have them there. All right. The other thing is that we saw on the original chart, and I believe, let me just pop it up, is that it has a nice red line, okay? And what we can do is also add it really quick, right click, click on the data series, or click on the dots, okay? But check out this. This is also why I take my time recording these videos. It's because you can click one individual point like this, and if you click it real fast, let me see, then you will get, you're targeting to that single data marker, not to the whole family of markers. So you always want to make sure that once you click on the markers, that many of them have been selected. How can I tell? because you have those blue dots on the corners and you can tell that many of them have been selected. That kind of assures you that you are selecting all the data points and you're gonna format them all at once. So now step back, and then once you do that, we can right click, and then we're gonna add trend line. Once we do that, it adds a really, a blue, really light blue line, but we can enhance it. So here, what we can do now is go to the fill line options, and then we go to a solid line, and then we because right now I think it was selected on automatic. You want to do solid. You want to do red like that, and then you want to switch the transparency to be 50%. And then on the dash type, you want to switch it to solid. And there we go. We get the same effect. See, a very light trend line, not so pronounced, but on the back telling you, hey, you have an upward slope on here. Perfect. So what else we can do? We can actually now improve all the fonts at once. So once you click on the chart, like right outside the plot area, okay, the plot area is this. And I just to move that a little bit, Control C to go back. This is the plot area, the square inside, but if I click on the square outside, that's the chart area. Once I do that and then go to home, I can actually change the font to be Arial. So once I do that, it actually changed the fonts to all the textual elements of the chart. And that's awesome because all at once I get the effect that I don't want to individually to each chart element to change the font. I just want it to on one go. The next thing is that we want to add labels. Labels are important, sacrosanct for charts. We want to tell what is this axis about and what is this axis about. So we can go right here on this plus sign and we can add the elements, and we can check this box, and it will automatically add an axis title for the horizontal axis and for the vertical axis. My recommendation is that these will be suffice, but sometimes they will kind of like give you a limitation of the length of the axis table. And if it actually wrap it and you cannot unwrap it, then you might want to go with the second option of adding a text box. And we will do that with the chart title in just a minute. So here we want to add the axis title. So for this, we maybe want to go grab the number of wins. Here, as you can see, I grabbed the text box for this example. So you're already seeing what's coming ahead. And I'm just going to click right there. And the negative of this is that, it's kind of like hard to edit because you have to tilt down your head. So yeah, it could work if you don't mind, it could work, but you can actually switch these to be horizontal. So the way to do that is you can click on that chart element, which is the axis title of the vertical axis, and then go to home. And then right here on this section of orientation, we want to deactivate it. We can tell that it's already activated because of the square on top of it. Click on it. And as soon as you do that, then you can tell that I just moved it. But here's the thing though. Once I move it over here and maybe put back this, so you can see also with I'm sort of resizing the plot area. This is awesome. Now I click on the element right here. I cannot do much on here. I cannot grab like the corner and stretch it so it can just be one line. I cannot do that. So that's why I recommend to do text boxes, because they're more flexible for this type of stuff. So I'm gonna delete this one right here, and I'm just gonna do this is the trick, okay? So in case you bring this chart for a PowerPoint and you want all of the elements within the chart to go and transfer appropriately, this is what you're gonna do. You click on the chart and then you go to Insert tab and then you go to Text and click on Text box. And as soon as you do that, look at that. We see like a cross, upside down cross. Let me bring my you can see right there. Okay, you can see the upside down cross. That's telling you that this is where you're gonna place the text box. As soon as you do that, okay, now let me close that. Click on it, and now the text box is part of the whole chart. So if you export it to a PowerPoint, that's gonna be included as well. And here we can maybe do Control V, and there we go. I kind of pasted the other thing. And now see, as you can see, I can make this bigger. Sometimes this is not so intuitive because, hey, I don't, it doesn't take that all the space. So you can adjust it, but at least you can adjust the size of this. Now, if you do this, it's not gonna wrap it. So that's why you wanna have it, you wanna have this option in case you just want one line axis label. With that, also look at the format, it's Calibri. So by default, it's always gonna come like that. So you have to do Arial in this case, and decrease the size a bit, and now also change the color to be a lighter gray. So in that sense, now we do the same for the one in the bottom. So for that is we can click on that, and this is a keyboard shortcut which is Control D. So click on that text box, and also how can we know that the text box has been integrated to the chart? You click on that text label and try to move it outside, and you won't be able to. I'm trying to move it outside the chart, but I can. That will tell you that you have included a chart element to your chart, or an external element to the chart. And here, click on that element and do Control D to make a quick copy. You don't have to do Control C, Control V. You do Control D to do a quick copy. And here we can actually do what's the title? Run differential. So I copy this, that I already have it, and now just click on that, and now just highlight this and Control V. But as soon as I do that, I lose the font. Okay, so this is what kind of becomes repetitive and a little bit boring, that you have to now switch it back to Arial and decrease the size to 9 and change the color to a gray. There we go. As soon as we do that, okay, now we have the axis title, and we can take out this one because of those limitations. And there we go. Look at that. Look, we have gone from this to this. So this is great. I mean, look, couple of clicks is I once heard somebody say it's all about the clicks, and for charts and for visuals, it is true. So now let's proceed. The only thing remaining here is the title. So again, if I click on it, I can tell that I'm grabbing the native chart title of the chart because of the blue dots on the corner. Again, because of the inflexibility, I wanna eliminate it. And to do that, click on it and then click delete, and then click on this text box, and now we're gonna make a copy. Control D and just put it on top. And for the chart title, is something that I already had here. So there we go, Control C, then go to that chart title, click on it, or click it again. Sometimes, yeah, this is what can also be tedious about this, is that you have to be very careful with the clicking, because sometimes you click something where you want, and my recommendation, have patience and a good humor. Click enter, actually click don't click outside. We want to make resize this a little bit bigger, a little bit shorter, and have this, and also bring this over here, make this a little bit bigger. So I think this size will be perfect. Okay, so I think we can make this chart bigger, and there we go. See, we got the same effect. Now what I did on the other one is something that I'm testing out as a personal theme for my Spill Graphics website. So there we go. Here I think the only thing is missing is we need to change the font to be Arial. As always, Arial. And why Arial? A lot of people might ask. Well, the thing is about Arial is that it's universal. So that for me is something that if I transport this to another workbook that maybe doesn't have my personal fonts, my custom fonts, at least I know Arial is gonna look hopefully good for them. So click on the chart, and there's something here that we're missing. Look at that. We're missing on this corner. We want to eliminate that too, so that way you don't see that. Click on the chart area element, which is the greater size of the chart. Right click, and then go to outline, and then no outline. And as soon as you do that, that border is being removed. And as you can tell, look at that. That chart has been improved. Now, a couple of other things. We can play with the axis minimum and maximum. What do I mean by that? Is that we can, you see all this space? Sometimes this space can be saved up and say, maybe it can be actually being used for another annotation. Look, highly annotated charts are gold. They win. They help the audience really help you what is this chart about. But just in maybe you don't need that space, you want to actually take up that space of the markers, then we can play with the minimum and the maximum of the axis. In order to do that, click on the axis here and then Control-1. And then here what we want to do is like, let's visually look at the dots. What are we talking about? So we're talking about maybe the maximum is 20, because we can say that the chart is arriving. Well, let me do this. Yep, right there, like that. That will be the maximum. And then the minimum is also 40. So maybe we can narrow that window to be between a maximum of 120 and 40. So let's do that. Cancel this and do 4 here. And then, yep, as soon as you do that, 120 is also set up automatically. By luck, I think. And hey, look now, the chart looks more pronounced. How about if we do with the horizontal? Not really, we cannot do too much. Why? Because there's only a little bit of space here, you know, and we can play around with it, but I think that, you know, that white space, or what is called by designer negative space or white space, is the same thing, is beneficial for the charts. It's like allowing some airs for your chart to breathe. So there you go. So I think leaving it like that, minus 400 to 400 is, I think in my opinion, very good. And the other thing is that you can also play around with is the background area of this. So you can tell there's two hues here. A light for the plot area is a darker gray, but for the one outside is a lighter gray. And also you can put your logo. That's more for the website, okay? You don't have to put that. But you can maybe put the source of the data. That's very important to always put on your chart. And look at the difference. We went from this to this. So again, for this, how do we add that background? Okay, it's very simple. You already have click on this area. Click on the chart area, right click it. Well, actually be careful. Again, be careful with the clicks. Click, right click. Actually, the first click is left. So let me do it again. Left click and then right click. And then on the fill area, we want to go to maybe more fill, custom. And the one that I have put in place, I believe is F9, 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 okay? 3 times. And once I do that, there we go. We can see, but then again, look at this. It does, I believe it has the same effect. Let me just double check. It has the same hex code. Yep, it has the same hex code. You can see F9, F9, F9. Let me just bring the magnifier. Okay. But here is something about the negative space. You can tell this one has a little bit more space on the top, on the side, and on the bottom. So we can grab the same thing for this. So what you got to do is then play out with your eyeball. You have to eyeball it. So in this case, what I'm going to do is going to bring down this a little bit down, move this label more over here, move this label over here. So like have it like that. Yep. Number of win. Maybe I can sort of decrease these and make this bigger. Again, this is something that you have to have a good sense of humor and have the patience, because I know I can run out and just be like, this is just taking so much time. But you know what? It pays off. It really pays off to have these sort of time investments for your charts, because this is what the audience is going to look. This is what your managers are going to look. And if it's well designed, I'm telling you, you're going to make a good win. So here we go. There we go. Now it has a little bit more space and it doesn't look so cramped. And that's it. That's it for this video. Might went a little bit long, but again, it's just about the clicks. You can touch the chart elements of an Excel chart, and if you can touch them, play around with them. I mean, intuitively, in order to refine the chart. That's it for this post, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Thank you.